Yeah, it's definitely summer. Okay, so here you can see the main entrance to the living room that's currently being worked on, that the contractors have boarded up with some plywood just to protect the house from outside elements, like rain, for example. They did the same thing to this window, except the rain is currently coming through, and it's coming in hot. I noticed it was leaking pretty badly a moment ago, so I quickly put some paper towel down, but this is not gonna hold for very long. Fortunately, the contractors literally just got here. I notified them of the issue, and they're gonna put some plastic on the outside of the house to cover up this area so we don't get any more leaking. So far, today is going great.
So I just want to make sure we're on the same page with the product messaging, since she'll be taking over while Kyle's out of town on another vacation.
No problem. I make it good for you, Joshy Boo.
Right. So at first glance, the Ion Plus seems like your typical power supply, but in fact...
I know. It has a 0 RPM fan. I thought Kyle was the only one with 0 fan.
Technically, that means it runs quiet, but you're not wrong, though.
Ultra flex cable for easy routing. That's no good. Cables need to be stiff like a dictator regime.
Please do not say that in the video.
Japanese capacitor? How much they charge you? I get you Chinese capacitor, half price.
That would definitely cheapen the product.
Exactly. Glad we're on the same page now. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Dictator regime.
Fractal Design delivers with the Ion Plus power supply. Click on the link below to learn more.
So I guess now would be a good time to give you a quick update on our boy cat. This is Riot. You can see he's wearing the cone of shame right now. It all started about 2 weeks ago when he came home one night with a limp on his leg and he was all kind of beat up and dirty. So we took him to the animal ER, they did some x-rays and fortunately found 0 fractures. So they chalked it up to a soft tissue injury and they said within a week or 2 he should be back to normal. Well, fast forward about a week, everything took a turn when we started noticing that he was in even more pain and there was blood dripping from his injured leg. So we were really confused as to why there was blood 1 week after the initial injury. So this time we brought him into a different vet and they found a huge abscess on his leg. Plus there was a bunch of dead flesh that had formed around it that they needed to cut away first in order to drain the abscess. What they think happened is that initial wound was caused by another cat, perhaps a raccoon, biting him, leaving some sort of puncture wound in his leg. Since cats heal really fast, the wound started closing up just fine, but it inevitably got infected, so it started opening back up to reject the bacteria, and that's when the abscess formed and all the other dead flesh around it. So after that little operation, like I said, they cut away a bunch of dead flesh. It left this gaping hole in his leg, which they did not bandage whatsoever. It's just, you could see like all the fat tissue underneath his skin, and he's pretty much been walking around and chilling around the house like that ever since for the last week or so. But the good news is that the wound is healing properly and it should be fully closed within 2 weeks or so. And at that point, he should be back to normal. So it's just been a really rough last month for him because he's not used to this sort of thing. This is his first major injury, and I don't think he's ever worn the cone of shame before. He's still not quite used to it. He's hanging in there, aren't you, buddy? You hungry? You hungry, buddy? Here, have some food. Eat. You can see I have to tilt the bowl so he can eat, otherwise the cone will run into the bowl and he won't be able to reach his food. You're so pathetic, huh? You're like an old lady in a kitty's body. Slurp, slurp, slurp. At least your tongue still works. Look at that thing go. Are you full? Wow, you didn't eat much. Should we get mommy some breakfast now? Wait, you're not wearing a cone. What am I doing? Take this. In other news, my buddy Justin, who I built the system for recently inside of that white Meshify C with a 3900X and a GTX 1070 Ti, is on his way right now to come pick up his build. He has no idea that I upgraded his NHD15 Noctua cooler with the Chromax accessories, so I think he might be a little surprised when he sees it. Let's see what he thinks. So I already got the system. It's actually powered on. Just so you can see that it is working. So I actually installed Chromax, some Chromax accessories.
That looks so sick.
Yeah, it's for the D15.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I thought I couldn't just like let you part with the system looking like a classic, like an OG Noctua cooler.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
still the exact same performance, but just a little bit more tricked out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that
for
looks
sure.
so good.
Where are we going? Why are we driving this way? Why are we going into downtown?
We're getting
Oh, shut up, Google. Shut up.
we're getting Italian food.
You can get Italian food like down the street from our house.
Yeah, but this is like a special Italian
Oh,
restaurant.
it's special.
It's vegan.
The whole thing, the whole menu's vegan?
Yes.
Wow. Do they have meatballs? What do they call the meatballs? Do they call them meatless balls? Plant balls. See, it doesn't have the same ring to it. Plants don't even have balls. I do like me a spicy meatball. Well, this Italian place better be good or I'm getting a bucket of shrimp right after. Hey, do you think if we turn on Norton, the car will run slower? Here we are. Piradita. Let's go! Cheers. It's afternoon, so we can drink wine. This Chianti is delicious. Don't you love this Chianti?
You're saying that way too loud. You're embarrassing me.
Okay, we got plant balls, meatless plant balls right here, and then over here we've got some phony ricotta with. I hope the bread's real. The bread's real, right?
It's amazing.
And now it's time for the ball test. Step 1, insert ball into mouth. Step 2, chew ball. I had a feeling you were going to say that. So here we have some lasagna, and then this is some Alfredo. Devour.
Enjoy that.
It gets better as you chew. It's evolving in my mouth. Oh, final form. Okay, here we go. It's really good. Oh my! Oh, that looks really nasty. A little splatter at the end. That is no longer appetizing. I'm sorry. Who am I kidding? I'm silly.
I'm tired now.
You're tired.
I had 2 glasses of wine.
But you also had a scoop of ice cream with a bunch of espresso dumped on top of it.
Didn't help.
Didn't help. Get in your cage, buddy. You stink.
Smells like fish sticks.
The boy is going to the vet because they could squeeze him in for a quick bathing appointment. Well, they're not going to bathe him, but they're going to clean his wound because it stinks really bad. He smells, I've been calling him roadkill all week. We need you clean because you're stinky as hell. Boy, you smell like...
It's because he literally just peed all over me.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is it on you? It's on you and stuff?
On me.
Oh. More importantly, though, is it on the car?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Hey, at least you don't have cat piss all over your legs.
I'd rather have it on my legs than on my car. Boy, you smell like a corpse covered in Swiss cheese. You smell like a durian's armpit. You smell like a pair of old socks in a fish market. You smell like a fermented butthole. You smell like a senior home with a strip club in the back. You're free! Welcome home! Yes, you're in a bathtub right now because your carrier still has pee all over it. Run for it, boy! Run! Break free! Why are you walking like a snake? What'd they do to your butt? Okay, I guess now would be a good time to give you guys an update on the house as well. So, as you can see, we're doing serious reconstruction here. The renovation is underway. It's been going on for about 2 weeks now. There's probably around 6 weeks left to go. It's a huge undertaking. We have destroyed pretty much the entire living room that was at the back of the house, and now we're in the process of rebuilding it from the ground up. Primarily this wall right here, this is the north-facing wall, and then the west wall right here, which you can see they've already started placing up beams. They actually put this up just today. They're moving very fast. If you guys remember, there was a sliding glass door right in the middle of this wall. It was actually fairly large, but we've since taken that out, and we're going to replace it with a brand new door that still opens from the center. However, it's going to be much wider. The cutout that you see here is roughly the size of the entire door, so it spans a good majority of the wall. We're doing something similar for this wall right here. Let me get on the other side of the house here. If I turn around, there's wifey. Hi, wifey. So this is the longer wall that spans about 26 feet. And we're going to be placing another sliding glass door there as well, and that's also going to take up a vast majority of that wall. So pretty much these two walls are going to be almost entirely glass. We're also going to have a large cutout window, probably somewhere on this wall. TV's going to go here. We've decided on south wall for the TV, and that's of course the entrance to the dining room and the rest of the house. There's the kitchen window right there. Also, I'm not sure how much you guys remember about our living room, but we used to have a smaller sliding glass door right here that we've since removed so that we can make way for the large sliding glass door that we're putting in. And in case you were curious, we are not keeping this weird step that, you know, goes down from the dining room and then back up to the rest of the living room. We're actually going to be pouring cement in this whole gap to make the entire house completely flush, so there will not be any sort of step or loft effect. Now, one last thing I wanted to say here is something that I mentioned in a previous video, but that was kind of baked into like a benchmarking video, so in case you guys didn't hear it or catch it, we are planning to ditch the pitch ceiling that was here originally. A lot of people are going to complain and say, you should be ashamed of yourself, that was such a beautiful ceiling. No, we're going to make it flat, we don't care. The main reason being is because we want to run AC in here, so we're going to have a duct. If we did that pitch ceiling, we would have a rectangular, kind of squarish duct all along the center column of that ceiling, and it would completely ruin the look. We've looked at pictures on Google Images, and we just don't like the way it looks. So we're going to sacrifice that style of ceiling for some AC, and I think that's a fair trade in my book. We are going to elevate that ceiling, however, about 5 inches higher than the rest of the home, so we are going to preserve a bit of headspace there. That's a quick little update on the house so far, guys. We've done a lot already, but there's still a whole lot that needs to be done. Like I said, this is going to be a 7 to 8 week project. I'll continue updating you guys as more progress is made, but so far, things are looking good.
Guess who received their end table? We did! It finally arrived. We ordered it like weeks ago. Little end table. It's going to go right here by the entryway, so we can put our keys and crap there and make it look a little bit less blank. I say we set this up right later because I'm really sweaty right now from being outside and stuff. Why don't we get a foot massage? Because, yeah, my dogs are barking. Do you know of a good massage place? Okay, you know what they say about foot massages? They're good for the soul. I'm really glad we're getting a foot massage. I think it's really gonna heal my body. It's okay that I parked on the street, right? They don't tow here, do they? If they manage to get all the knots out of me, it'll be a real feat.
Well, my feet are happy. Are your feet happy?
My feet are happy.
My stomach's sad again, though.
Yeah, I need more food.
You know what we haven't had in a while? We haven't had a good Indian food in a long time. You know I like the Punjabi cuisine. I know this isn't exactly Egyptian salsa, but I think they copied Mexico. Hold on a minute. This is just tempura. The Japanese won't be happy about this. What is this, garlic bread? That's totally Italy. Okra? Is this okra?
Yeah.
Isn't that Texas food? This is basically just baby. I know I'm being silly right now, but all this food is actually extremely good. Wifey approved?
It's really good.
Half this vlog is just you eating. It's awesome. Go, honey, go! Entryway table complete. Yay, it looks really good. Definitely fills up the space nicely. It's the perfect size. Looks really good too. We did run into a complication, however, trying to mount the brand new mirror that we got to go along with the table that's supposed to mount right above it. So the table needs to stay there because that's the exact center point between this little entryway here. That's where the piece of tape is. So that's going to be the center of the mirror. And then we have these two mounting holes. The mirror has one mounting hole here and one over here, left and right. And we measured that out. It has to be exact, of course. And the right hole is right about here, just to the right of this stud. And the other hole is right here, which is smack in the middle between those two studs. And that's a problem because this wall is not simply drywall. It's super hollow wood. It's a really thin sheet of wood. If the studs lined up, it'd be no problem, but this is super thin and it's definitely not going to hold the weight of that, what, 35, 40-pound mirror. It's really heavy. We probably should have looked into this before. The rest of the house is perfectly fine. Has really nice, thick, perfectly proper drywall. This is the only wall in the house that doesn't, and we completely overlooked the fact that we might not be able to hang something so heavy onto it. I think the only solution here, and we obviously can't take care of this tonight, but would be to drywall this entire wall, which means we'd have to rip out what's there right now and then replaster it and all that so we could hang this stupid mirror. I'm sorry, honey. We tried. So we're gonna have to revisit this at another time, guys. This is yet another project thrown into the laundry list of house projects that we have piling up by the day.
That's gonna do it for the vlog. It was a really long day, filled with lots of stuff, and I'm tired, so I'm gonna go to bed. The bathroom is all yours, honey. I'm done with it, by the way.
Going in there, I can smell your stench from here.
I can't help it. What was the Indian food?
It's not just as bad as the boy. The only difference is you didn't pee on me.
Yet.
This right here is the Phenonic Hex 2.0 series. And if we were to look at the performance ratings alone, you'd be forgiven for thinking there's some kind of magic going on here, since it seems to be able to cool much better than its relatively small size would suggest. But unfortunately for perpetual motion machine makers and this cooler alike, magic is not real. And thermodynamics is. What makes this product special is, of course, its use of a Peltier or thermoelectric cooler, which uses electricity to move heat from one side of the device down here or up there, wherever it is, to the other. But what's even cooler is this. What Alex is holding is 2 aquarium coolers using a similar technology, which together should be able to provide 360 watts of cooling power. So we're gonna see how our two contraptions here manage against a 10-core overclocked processor in a new crazy cooling experiment series that we're calling...
Bad cooling ideas?
Vincero Watches is celebrating their 5-year anniversary, and everything on the website is on sale until August 18th, 2019. Check them out at the link in the video description. All right, so tech cooling is pretty well established at this point, but that doesn't prevent people from marketing it as basically magic. Check out this desktop cooler on Kickstarter. So the way a Peltier, or tech, works fundamentally is by having electrons in the form of DC current pass through two elements. In one of the elements, the electrons go from a low to a high energy state, absorbing heat, and in the other, they go from a high to a low energy state, releasing heat. So you've got the cold side and the hot side with a maximum temperature difference of usually around 70 degrees Celsius. The cooling capabilities of a tech are directly proportional to the power consumption of the tech module.
So back to that Kickstarter thing, it's not magic at all and really annoyed me when I found it in my email. So basically all it's doing is using the tech cooler to make the water in the back of it hotter. So in the end, instead of your room being cooler, which like it does a bit, you just end up with a container full of hot water. It's branded as eco-friendly, but it's using a tech cooler, which are just not efficient at all. So it's using hectons of electricity, and it costs $350, and it can only cool 60 watts. A similarly priced refrigerant-based cooler has literally 50 times more cooling. But it does have a Bluetooth speaker, which...
I don't think that's enough to save that.
My air conditioner doesn't have that. So, let's get this thing on the CPU. Wait a second. They did what we tell everyone to do. They just completely ripped off Noctua's mounting mechanism. It's completely identical.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. It's
awesome.
not quite identical.
It's like a bit worse.
The back plate is like an all-in-one instead of having separate ones for AMD and Intel. But yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, good for them.
At least they got one thing right. So now that we know tech cooling is not in fact magic, let's investigate this cooler a little bit more closely. So Phononic is not actually the first to attempt to build a Peltier into a CPU heatsink. Monsoon, Coolit, and Swiftech all did it way back in 2007, and there may even be earlier instances. Why didn't it catch on? I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't mature enough. So let's take a closer look at this more recent attempt here. How does this go in? It just sits there?
Yeah, you need to put the, like that, or it doesn't really go back together.
That's stupid. All right, and then this goes here, and just kind of, really?
Yeah, squeeze this together. I spent a fair bit of time figuring out how to get it back together while you were gone. Yeah!
Hey!
Is that screwed all the way down?
What is that mount? Is that mounting pressure somewhere? Oh, you put it on upside down. The good news is that our contact looks great between the heatsink and the CPU.
Oh yeah.
So you've got pre-testing done on an NHU-12A, right?
Yep.
Now to be clear, this is a much larger heatsink with almost twice as many heat pipes, but it's $50 cheaper, so these things gotta find a way to be competitive.
Yeah.
You've got a second power supply just for our heatsink here.
Yeah, so if you were installing this in a regular computer, you would do this. We are just using a second power supply so we can find out just how much power this thing is drawing.
Because of course, for a tech to work, you do need a power source for the Peltier module itself, which in the case of this cooler is embedded in the base between the heatsink fins and heat pipes up here, and then another piece of copper. Now theoretically, the bottom of this is quite short. It's hard to feel it though.
I don't know, right now it's only drawing 4 watts, so it might need some input from the fan header to really turn on.
Interesting. I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun? Hey! I love that merch product placement. Is that you or David?
I don't know, is that just Andy's water bottle?
Oh, it could be. Yeah, Andy just left his water bottle. We all have the same water bottles, so like...
We're just doing the good old blender BMW, seeing what the max temperature is at the end of it.
We're idling at around 30 low.
Okay.
30 mid. Yeah,
Cool.
30 low to 30 mid.
So what we're trying to beat is a maximum core temperature of 68 degrees and an overall average across all 10 cores of 64.9.
Okay.
Think we're gonna do it?
Here we go. How's our power going?
3 watts right now. 14, 30, 40.
So it kicked in. Interesting. So that's fairly sophisticated. It keeps the tech idle
Yeah.
unless there's an actual heat load, which is really good because otherwise you would actually end up with your CPU reaching sub-ambient temperatures, which could cause condensation and shorting.
Yeah, we're up to 40 watts. 42 is the highest that I've seen.
One of my cores is at 65 already.
Okay. That's not too bad though.
Okay, we're almost done. So our maximum core managed to reach 70 degrees. We've got another one at 69, another one at 68, 68, 67. Yeah. I mean, he's coming back with his trusty calculator, but I think I've already determined that we're higher.
Science says it's worse.
Yep, 2.5 degrees worse.
Yep.
Bummer. This situation could only get better though, right? Should we turn on the overclock?
Yes.
So one of the special things about techs is that, from my understanding, if you overwhelm them, so you have like too much heat, they actually eventually become an insulator? I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but what do our CPU temps look like?
We're at 104 right now.
Whoa!
105. 106.
Hey, it's trying hard.
Yeah, I wonder how it's looking there. I don't know if this is accurate because I don't know if it's just bouncing around, but that looks like 50 degrees on top of the CPU there. Oh, we're at 100. Oh, it's hit the thermal max. I'm guessing that it's down clock now. Oh, it hasn't yet. Yeah, it's down clocking now. Everything's at like 110 degrees.
Fortunately, we always had a backup plan.
Just shutting it down.
Okay, so while we were removing this is absolutely fascinating. Now, what I was expecting was for all of our heat sinks and heat pipes over here to be cooling the hot side of the tech, but Alex pointed out that it actually works a little bit differently than that.
Yeah, it looks like this entire side is just working like a regular air cooler, and whatever's left over after those heat pipes is then being cooled by the tech, which is putting all that heat into the other side.
Right, so our tech is actually sitting in between two quad heat pipe single tower coolers. So effectively, this one is cooling the hot side of our tech, and this one is just cooling the CPU directly, with the cold side of the tech also cooling this plate from right here in the middle.
Yeah, I feel like they were just concerned that your average CPU would overwhelm the tech, which makes sense because it's only 40 watts.
Right, and that would explain why it didn't just completely blow up.
Yeah.
And movie magic, everything is different.
So we have a whole water cooling loop just on the table here. 360 rad costs about the same as our 2 Peltier units. It's already been pre-tested. We have a new overclock that pushes this to its limits.
Nice.
And it's all tested.
So that's the same price as this, which means
Yes.
that these two have to keep up with that.
Correct. And like the RGB is included in the price. So yeah.
The first thing I notice about these is that while they are fairly pre-done as a solution for the user, they don't have connectors on them. Beautiful. Okay, Snip me, like my doctor did it.
Okay, we need to rethink this. Everyone's just shocked that doing things the correct way is easier.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, this is...
You know, after the crap you gave me about my soldering, that is really not a lot better.
Yeah, it's not heating up the way that I would like it to.
Want some electrical tape?
Yep.
I mean, once you wrap it in enough electrical tape, no one can tell how
Yeah.
good your soldering job was. Okay, in all seriousness though, guys, yes, this is really jank, and no, neither Alex nor I would ever deploy something like this in like a 24/7 application, but this will run for quite literally 5 to 10 minutes, and we have a fire extinguisher right there.
Wow, that immediately got really cold. So
Wow!
It's like 18, 15, 13, 11.
That's chilly.
Getting...
That's really cold.
We're gonna be below 0 very soon. Yep, we're below 0 degrees. So...
This could be a bad idea to keep my finger on here.
Yeah. What's it like on the bottom? 60, 60, 70, something like that?
Not bad, it feels fine. So guys, what we're looking at here is a much more powerful Peltier module. You can see it has just larger gauge wires going into it. It does seem to be a bit bigger than the one that was built into the heatsink. And what it's doing is it's got its hot side over here, which is being cooled by this double tower cooler with 3 92mm fans. And then it's got its cold side over here with just this rudimentary water block that is really quite frosty. You can actually see there's frost forming on it, and I'm leaving fingerprints behind. So that's going to chill our water, and this is going to dissipate the heat of our Peltier module and our CPU to the surrounding air.
Also, it's currently drawing 301 watts.
Not bad!
Yeah.
Instead of necessarily trying to have it at the highest point and like minimize water loss that way, what if we just cut the tube and then I just jam this on there? Like this is a quick connect. So.
Sure.
Okay. So actually, oh, pinch it, pinch it. Wait, don't lift that up.
Not too high.
This is not half-inch tubing. Okay. Let's keep that. Oh, ow. That is not coming off. So here's an idea.
Yeah.
Should we just get this out of here?
What's attached?
Okay, now that looked really jank, but that's how much water we lost.
We're basically pros at
Also
this now.
this. But that was intentional. So how proud are we right now? We basically invented a Cool-It Boreas.
Not very.
Now our idle temps are looking pretty fine. 26, 27, 27.
So...
Actually, it is lower now. It's 23.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it's dropping really fast.
Yeah.
Our lowest score is at 22 already. All right, F12.
Yep.
Here it goes.
So we're looking at a maximum temperature of 84 to beat. 80.7 is our average on all cores.
Remember, there's 2 chillers in series here, so we want this one versus this one.
So this one's like 26.
And this guy?
Come on. It's like 26 also.
Well, it's trying. They're trying there, bud. Oh, our render's done.
Oh.
So our maximum on the hottest core was 80. However,
where are we going to find a
doesn't
metal
tell the whole
cookpot?
story, because we actually started with our water chilled to subambient, and we could see as the test ran that it was definitely heating up. So we need to do a longer test.
Yeah.
So how'd we do?
So, yeah, we had to beat 84 degrees, and we hit what? 94. That's not great.
So all that's left, after of course zipping up my stealth hoodie and telling you guys it's available on xboxstore.com, is to walk through why this is a bad idea. So there's a couple of things. Number one, it actually isn't any more compact, even though the Peltier module itself is quite small, because you've got to cool all that extra heat. Number two is the extra heat and therefore noise. Number three is the cost. For the same price, we were able to get this radiator along with like RGB fans and stuff. And number four is of course the power consumption. This at full blast consumes about 10 watts, while this consumes about 300 watts. So the thing with Tex is that, yeah, it's cool that you can reach subambient temperatures as long as there's not much heat load, But if as soon as you fire up something intensive like a render, your temperatures go higher than just with a traditional water cooling radiator, then that's kind of a bummer. But, guys, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss this video, because that doesn't mean that Peltiers are necessarily a bad idea, the way that they were in this video. Now, the way we used to do it in the old days was we'd take a Peltier and put it directly between the CPU block and the CPU, taking the cooling right where it's needed. Now, the problem was that CPUs outpaced Peltiers in terms of how much heat they were outputting and what kind of Peltiers you could get. So it became just impractical. But Alex found...
Oh yeah, we found one that's 545 watts and draws 32 amps.
So that's on its way from eBay. That's going to be a future video. Subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss it, and we will see you there in maybe Bad Cooling Ideas episode 2?
Yeah,
But maybe a good idea.
And maybe soon and maybe not, because eBay shipping.
Speaking of eBay shipping, I'm bringing this sponsor segue right to you right now.